friends, today we are going to start with the chapter 14 of biology, that is plant life. Today we are going to start with the leaf topic. So first is, what is leaf? Leaf is a flattened, thin, green, broad outgrowth of the stem, and it is green due to the presence of a pigment called chlorophyll, which helps the plant in the process of photosynthesis, in which a plant makes food for itself. And this leaf is attached to the stem with the help of leaf base at nodes. Leaf is attached to the stem with the help of leaf base. Leaf base is the base of the leaf, with the help of leaf base at nodes. Now let us understand what is acropetal. Leaves grow in an acropetal manner. That means that the younger and smaller leaves, they grow closer to the apex of the stem. They grow closer to the apex of the stem, and the older and larger leaves, they are away from the apex. Then comes parts of a leaf. A typical leaf has three parts, main three parts: lamina or leaf blade, petiole or stalk of leaf, and a leaf base. First, lamina. Lamina is that part, broad expanded part, on which the veins, veinlets and midrib, these three are present. Then this lamina has the function of absorbing sunlight and carbon dioxide for the process of photosynthesis. Then it is petiole. This is the stalk which helps the leaf to be attached to the stem. This is the stalk by which leaf lamina is attached to the stem. The angle between the petiole and the stem. So this is the stem, this is the petiole. The angle, this is the angle. The angle between the petiole and the stem is called axil. Then usually the axil of leaf contains an axillary bud. Now the axillary bud is over here. This is a type of axillary bud. It is present down at the tip, at the point where the stem and the petiole are joining, over there. An axil contains an axillary bud, and an axillary bud is protected by a stipule. This is a new part. This is a new part that it is not in the book, but I am explaining this for knowledge. Stipule is that part which protects the axillary bud. As you can see, it is after the axillary bud to protect. It is a type of grass only, a type of grass. When you see, you will imagine it as a grass only, but it is known as stipule. Then it is leaf base. Leaf base is nothing but the base of the leaf. It is the base of the leaf. Then comes veinlets. Before moving on to the veinlets, let's talk about the veins. Veins are those veins, the midrib. From the midrib, some branches come out. These branches are called as veins. These are veins, and these help in the transportation of many materials like water, minerals, etc. Then veinlets. The veins are further subdivided into veinlets. These also help in the transportation of these materials like water, minerals, etc. Then comes midrib. Now there is a difference between petiole and midrib. You can see there is a confusion. Petiole is over here, but that same stalk which goes through the lamina is called as midrib. It is that the stalk which is inside the lamina, the stalk which is inside the lamina is called as midrib. Then, and the stalk which is outside the lamina, this one, which helps in the to attach the leaf to the stem, is called as petiole. Then it is leaf margin. The margin of the leaf is called leaf margin. Then comes incisions. There is a difference between leaf margin and incisions. Leaf margin is the margin of the leaf, but incisions is the design which is made on the shape, which is made on the margin. This is called incisions. In some trees, in some leaves, you can have seen that there it is curly. There it is curly incisions, and over here there are pointed incisions. So many type of incisions are in this world in various leaves. Then it is leaf apex. This is the tip of the leaf. This is the tip of the leaf at the point, at the top. So with this, parts of leaf is completed. And one more thing, this is node. It is not that much important. Well, this is node. Node is the point at which the petiole and stem is attached. This is the node. And this is a leaf base. Then we are moving on to types of leaves. Leaves are divided into two categories based on this structure. These two are simple leaves and compound leaves. Let us talk about them. Simple leaves, those leaves which have single undivided lamina, are called as simple leaves, and the incisions on these leaves never touch the midrib. I have made a simple leaf over here. You can see that the incisions never touch the midrib. The incisions never touch the midrib, and there is an undivided single lamina. So this is a simple leaf. Example of this is mango, peepal, jamun. Now, example of these are, yes, this is a mango leaf. This is a mango leaf. You can see that it is having single undivided lamina, plus the incisions never touch the midrib. These are the incisions, these are curly incisions. So these never touch the midrib. Then even peepal one over here, this is a peepal leaf. This is a peepal leaf, and its tree is sacred among the Hindus. We worship this leaf, this leaf's tree. This is peepal leaf. Then this is guava. We say it as amrud in Hindi. Guava. This is a guava leaf. Incisions here also never touch the midrib. So these were the examples of some simple leaves. Then it is compound leaves. Compound leaves are opposite of the simple leaves. In simple words, you can say that compound leaves have a single undivided lamina, and the incisions always touch the midrib. Let me show an example to clear it. So, this is an example of compound leaf. This is curry leaves. It is common among us as we use this type of leaves for making dishes. Here you can see that the incisions over here always touch the midrib. This is the midrib, and these incisions always touch the midrib. And this leaf is divided into many segments. These are called as leaflets. These segments are called as leaflets. Then one more example of compound leaf. Here, this marigold. This is a marigold leaf. It is also a compound leaf, as the leaves are divided into small segments, plus the incisions are touching the midrib. We will study about leaflets further. Here it comes. Example of compound leaves is rose, gram, neem, pea, etc. Even this marigold and this curry leaves were example of compound leaves. Now one can easily differentiate a leaf or leaflet. You know a leaf. This is a leaf and a leaflet. Leaflet is this one. These small segments, you can see that the lamina is divided into small segments. This is called as leaflets. One can easily differentiate between a leaf and leaflet. It is because a leaf has an axillary bud. A leaf has an axillary bud over here. But a leaflet has no such bud. This is the major difference. And the leaves are arranged in different planes, while the leaflets are present in one plane. Now, this is also one. Whenever you see on a tree, you can see that the simple leaves, which are like this, they do not have any divided lamina. So these type of leaves, they are just present in different planes. One is over here, the second is over here. They are just spread up. They are spread all over the tree. But in the case of this compound leaf, here you can see that all the leaves are present in one plane. They are arranged in one plane only, systematically. And so now we'll move on to venation. The arrangement of midrib, veins and veinlets is known as venation. So this is the meaning of venation. Venation is also of two types: reticulate venation and parallel venation. Reticulate venation. If the veins and veinlets make a network on the either sides of the leaf, then it is a reticulate venation. Example is leaf. People. You can see that they have made a type of network. Veins and veinlets. You can see that. Then it is now there may be single midrib arising from the tip of petiole to the apex of leaf, or there may be many midribs arising from the tip of petiole to the apex of leaf. So there may be single midrib arising from the tip of petiole to the apex, or there may be many midribs. Example over here. This is having only one midrib. There are many other plants also. There are many other midribs. Then these type of leaves are common in dicot plants. It is commonly found in leaves of dicot plants. These example of this are mango leaf. Mango leaf also. Mango is also an example of reticulate venation. It is. Then we move on to parallel venation. If the veins and veinlets run parallel, that means from the base of the leaf to the tip of the leaf, that means they run parallel. That means this is a parallel venation. Let me show an example to clear this. Here, this leaf, this type of leaf, you can see that. Here you can see that the veins are not visible over here, but still there you can see here in the between there are some dumps also, and there are small lines that are not visible. It is hard to find them. Then these type of leaves are common in monocot plants. These leaves are found in monocot plants. Sugarcane, maize, wheat, and this one more. These all are types of parallel venation. Then it is, these type of leaves are found in monocot leaves. This is also one. And then there is no formation of network. You can see that there is no formation of network. I will show you the difference. It will be easy. You can easily notice the difference over here. This is a mango leaf. This is another leaf, which is having a parallel venation. Then moving on to phyllotaxy. Now this part is not in a syllabus but still for knowledge. Arrangement of leaves on the nodes of a leaf, on the nodes of a stem and branches is known as phyllotaxy. Okay, so I'll not explain it that much. I'll just show some examples. Opposite phyllotaxy. In opposite phyllotaxy, both of these leaflets, they are present on one place only. Means the same. They are opposite to each other, but at the same place only. Then alternate phyllotaxy. Now alternate phyllotaxy also you can see in the picture over here. Over here the leaves are arranged alternately. That is why it is named as alternate phyllotaxy. Then whorled phyllotaxy. In this, if 3 or more leaves are born at each node and they are whorled in shape. Whorled means circle. If they are whorled in shape, it is known as whorled phyllotaxy. Now we'll move on to functions of leaf. Photosynthesis. This is one of the major functions of the leaf. The process by which the plant makes its food with the help of water, carbon dioxide and chlorophyll, etc. Chlorophyll, water, carbon dioxide and sunlight. Only these many. With the help of these 4 things, it makes its food with the help of leaf. Is called as photosynthesis. Chlorophyll pigment is present in the leaves of plants. In the starting also I have said this. Transpiration. The process of removal of excess water by the form of water vapor. Now, if you pour more water to a leaf, what will happen? The leaf will die. If you provide excess water to a leaf of a plant, if you provide excess water to a plant, what will happen is the water vapor means the plant will die. But the process of transpiration helps the leaf to survive. That means the process of removal of excess water. That means if the water is excess, then it will be removed with the help of the sun's water vapor. Means the excess water will be converted into water vapor with the help of the sun's sunlight. Then we move on to storage. Leaves of some plants become fleshy to store food. Example are onion. Leaves of some plants are used for storage also. Example is onion. Then exchange of gases. Exchange of gases takes place through the stomata, there are small pores. I'll show. Well, it is not visible, but over here they are beneath. This exchange of gases is needed for respiration and photosynthesis. It is hard to observe the stomata as these can be visible under the powerful microscope only. Then reproduction. In some plants, leaves have buds and these buds produce new plants. In some plants like Bryophyllum, in that you can see that it is having buds on its leaf and these buds produce new plants. So what happens is, first the Bryophyllum plant is fixed. After that, tiny buds come on a single leaf. Then those buds just fall into the soil and they grow into a new plant. Example is Bryophyllum. Then modification of leaves. The most vital function of leaf is performing photosynthesis. Along with this, the leaves of certain plants are modified to perform some additional functions to cope up with the needs of environment. So, some of the modification of the leaves. Now, we will talk about the modifications of leaf. Leaf tendril. It is found in some weak stemmed plants. Example is pea and lathyrus. In the picture also you can see over here. there are ring structures. These support the plant. These are in weak stemmed plants, these are found, in which either the whole leaf or leaflet or some parts may be modified into tendril. So any part of the leaf, suppose in a pea, any part, lamina or any other part, leaflet, these can be modified into a tendril. These support the plant. In sweet pea plant, the terminal leaflets are modified into tendril, climb or to expose their leaves to sunlight. So, in this sweet pea plant, in that the terminal leaflets are modified into tendrils. These are used to expose them to the sunlight. Then it is spines. Spines is very common between us, as in some plants leaves are reduced to spines to prevent loss of water. Now some type of examples are opuntia, prickly pear and then opuntia is a type of cactus only, opuntia. So spines prevent loss of water and they also protect plant from the grazing animals. Now over here, in some plants leaves are reduced to spines to prevent loss of water. So the leaves are reduced to spines, and then this helps that the leaves are not exposed to the sunlight, and due to this transpiration not occurs over there. Due to that the water is stored beneath. In a cactus also the leaves are a little fleshy over there. It is because it can survive in the desert. It is because if it gets rain, then it just absorbs it in its stem, and that is why it is green also and can survive in the desert easily. In barberry, opuntia, all the leaves are reduced to spines. Then in aloe vera everybody has known, the leaves have spines on their margins. On the margins, the spines are present. Then, in date palm, only the apex of the leaf is in spines. Then, phyllodes is not in our syllabus. Then, hooks is not in our syllabus. Scale leaves. These are dry brown leaves. And these play a protective role, and these are present on the nodes of aerial stem. So these are present on the nodes of an aerial stem. Example is it's a ginger. Example of ginger you can take. It is brown in color, dry and brown, and they lack chlorophyll. And hence they do not perform photosynthesis. Then modification of leaves in insectivorous plants. In some insectivorous plants, the leaves are modified to capture insects. Some modifications are given below. Pitcher plant. In Nepenthes, you can see that in Nepenthes, the lamina becomes modified into a pitcher to capture insects. The leaf tip forms the lid, and the petiole becomes a long coiled structure forming the pitcher. So in Nepenthes, the lamina becomes modified into a pitcher to capture insects. The leaf tip means the leaf apex. Leaf tip, the leaf apex modifies into a lid. This helps in the capturing of insects, and with the help of this, the structure is like if an insect sits on the pitcher, at that time automatically the lid will be closed and that insect will be digested by the enzymes of that plant. Then comes bladder and nutricle area. Leaf becomes modified to form a sac-like structure. So in nutricle area, here the picture is also given. The insects enter through this opening. So the insects just sit on this opening and they just get digested by the enzymes. Then, in case of Venus flytrap, flytrap. Now over here, in the Venus flytrap, the leaf braid, that is lamina. The lamina is divided into two parts in a type of, it is divided into two parts which are joined along the midrib. So in this way, if the insect just sits on that part, in any part of the leaf, then the enzymes of that Venus flytrap will get interlocked, and also the enzymes will digest the insect, prevent the escape of that insect. Then it is vegetative propagation in leaf. In some plants, leaves are modified to bear foliar buds, from which new plants grow and develop. Bryophyllum sprout leaf plant, Begonia elephantia plant are the examples. In some plants, leaves are modified to bear foliar buds. The buds which are present on the leaves is called as foliar buds on the margins. Now, examples are Bryophyllum and Begonia. Bryophyllum is a type of sprout leaf plant and Begonia is a type of elephantia plant. The leaf in a Bryophyllum plant is broad and has notches at its margin. At its margins, the leaf can easily grow. These buds are known as foliar buds, which are present on the margin. Then it is buds arise from notches and are called epiphyllous buds. Buds arise from notches. These are called as epiphyllous buds and foliar buds also. But epiphyllous buds is a sophisticated word. Then, when these buds fall off from the leaf into the soil, they develop into a new plant. As I had told earlier also, in the part I told you about that. Buds arise from notches and are called epiphyllous plants. So with this, we have completed the part leaf. Hope you all like this video. Please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.